I'm joined in studio by Robert Daniels. He's the provincial spokesperson for the Western Cape Emergency Medical Services, and he's going to speak to us about a very important topic: children and the proper way to transport them in your vehicles, specifically when it comes to using seatbelts. Robert, I know that this is a topic that you are particularly passionate about. Tell us why.
That's right, Jerusha. Reason being, basically, children, any child who dies is a child who dies too soon, and they shouldn't really be dying because of our negligence, which is what's happening all over the country every day.
Now, won't you talk us through what is required from parents when they are transporting a child in their vehicle, and not just parents, anybody transporting a child?
Well, a child not restrained, not in a child seat or strapped into a seat belt, is not a child who's in a very safe situation. So we're urging parents to just strap down their children, put them in, if they're old enough or big enough, to put them into a seat belt or a kiddie seat, and if they're too small, to just have them in a baby seat and have that seat strapped in with the same seat belt.
Now, unfortunately, in your job, you come across many horrific accident scenes, and you have to deal with many parents who are grieving the loss of their children because their children weren't strapped in properly. Won't you talk to us about some of these parents? What are they dealing with? What are some of the reactions that you come across?
Well, the first reaction is obviously disbelief, followed immediately by guilt. And it sounds harsh and it sounds cruel, but they're guilty for a good reason. I mean, that parent should be parenting better, and that child is your responsibility. So if you didn't strap that child in, that child having passed away in the accident is essentially your fault.
Now, we've been reading lots of reports this week coming out of stories revolving around children being transported in bakkies to and from school. It's obviously something that's very prevalent in the country, as parents often work and need to have their child transported. But I wanted you to speak to us about this very widespread transporting of children in bakkies. Why is this problematic?
Well, various reasons. First of all, due to the socio-economic climate that we find ourselves in this country, the transporting of people in bakkies is quite common. You'd find it in all developing countries, Africa, Asia, India. It is just the done thing, because it's a case of getting onto that bakkie and getting to school, or not going to school that day. It's as simple as that. These people don't have the options, these people don't have the infrastructure, even right here at home. The infrastructure just doesn't exist for kids to get to school safely, and because we are very diverse, the road link system is very diverse in terms of rural and then more urban. So we have large distances between schools and places where people live. Unfortunately, that is the case. So it's a case of, like I said, getting on that vehicle, that unsafe vehicle, or not getting to school that day.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately the case.
Quite right, but even though that is the case, it's still not recommended.
It's not recommended at all. In fact, vehicle manufacturers vehicles are not vehicles like a bakkie. They are essentially developed for load carrying, and people are not loads. Well, you know what I mean. People are not produce, people are not tools, people are not things that need to be shipped or moved around in the back of a bakkie. A bakkie is not designed for people, which is why you will not find a seat or a seat belt in the back of a bakkie, in the load bay I'm referring to. There's a reason for this. Bakkies are not designed to carry people in the back. It's as simple as that. You have to understand that the accidents are also mostly bakkie accidents because the bakkie is not developed, is not designed to be a people carrier. Therefore, the rear suspension is more prone to keeling over if you go into a sharp turn too quickly. A vehicle is low for a reason, a normal car. A bakkie is high for another reason. It's meant for load carrying. The suspension in the back of a bakkie is completely different than that of a car. So if you go into a corner too quickly, the chances of a bakkie falling over is much higher than that of a car.